everyone! Welcome to Donna's Happy Hour. We have a great lineup for you today. I have Jackie McNally, who is with Wreaths Across America. Her and her husband Dan have been involved with Wreaths Across America for 10 years now. And basically what they do is they get wreaths placed on every tombstone in West Point. So I'll be talking with her and discussing that. And then we will have Paul Brower, who I've had on the show before, who will be singing some of his original songs. So grab your drinks, whatever they may be, because I'm hoping you'll spend the next hour with me. Today I have Jackie McNally with me, and Jackie represents and is involved with Wreaths Across America, and that is located at West Point Cemetery. Jackie, thank you for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
So tell us a little bit about how you got involved with Wreaths Across, that's not easy to say.
No.
Wreaths Across America. How did you get involved in that?
Well, I just felt that I wanted to do something really special for veterans and kind of give back that way.
Okay. And when did you get involved? How many years ago?
10 years. This is our 10th year, and we're at West Point Cemetery,
Right.
December 7th at noon.
And so, was this something that started prior to 10 years ago?
Yes, there's a very interesting story. There's a man called Morrow Wooster who is from Columbia Falls, Maine. And when he's about my age.
Okay.
And when he was a child, he had a paper route. And I don't know what he did, if he sold extra subscriptions, but he won a trip to Washington, D.C. And when he was down there, one of the things that impressed him the most was his visit to Arlington Cemetery. Okay. And he never forgot about that. Now, this Wreaths Across America, the mission really started about 25 years ago. His occupation is, he's in the balsa business,
Okay.
which means wreaths.
Right.
So 1 year with his business, he had 5,000 too many wreaths. And this is, again, a little over 25 years ago.
Amazing.
He
Okay.
didn't know what to do with them, and he remembered his boyhood trip to Arlington Cemetery when he had won this trip to Washington, D.C.
Right.
So he called down to Arlington and said, I've got 5,000 wreaths. If I get them down to you, can you get them placed in the cemetery? And they said yes. And this mission of his, after the first year, went on for many, many years. He was just something that he really felt so strongly about giving back. And he would just do this silently. They would send down, 5,000, 5,000 plus, but
Right.
he would do it for many years. And then all of a sudden, a photographer took a picture, put it on the internet, and it literally went viral.
Wow.
And so many people called up to, it's Columbia Falls is where his business is located,
Right.
to say, I want to be a part of this, what can I do? And for several years, they said, no, we're not set up for this. But finally, the demand was so overwhelming, people wanted to be a part of it. They said, we've got to do something. So then Wreaths Across America was formed. And it is a 501c3. It's a not-for-profit.
Right.
So in doing this, there was a lot of logistical things they had to get going.
You bet.
They got trucking companies on board, and the trucking companies donate the time for the driver and all the expenses for the trucks.
Wow.
This past year, they did 1.8 million wreaths across the country and internationally. In fact, this year they did Normandy. This past year, they did, really last year they did Normandy.
Right.
So it has just grown and grown, and there are about 1,600 locations across. And West Point is one of them. The only stipulation is you have to be a veterans cemetery or have veterans in your cemetery, and it's only for veterans' graves.
Interesting. Yeah. Now, you're involved with just West Point?
Yes.
Okay.
We focused on West Point Cemetery. There was no setup for wreaths to be done there, so sent in the paperwork. We were cleared to do it, and we did it 10 years ago. We had 125 wreaths. Right. And the last 3 years, we've been able to cover every grave, which is 7,025.
Wow.
And our trucking companies that we have, and we have a long-standing relationship with them now, they want to come on board year after year. They're Purdue, that's the Purdue chicken people.
No
they come up out of Salisbury Mills. And Pinnacle Freight Lines out of Secaucus, New Jersey. So they supply the truck and the driver.
Wow.
They send them up to Maine, so we do not have any expense with that.
Right.
We have a some other donations that are made. So we can truly say that 100% of any money that is donated for Wreath sponsorships goes to Wreath sponsorships, which is, I think, pretty good.
That is very
Yes.
good. Yeah. Now, I have a question, and I don't know if it's a silly one, but I'm going to ask it. So is there, because you said December 7th,
Yes.
is that date, is there a particular reason that day was picked?
The national date is always a week later than what we do it.
Okay.
But because we're at West Point Cemetery, the Army-Navy game is usually that weekend, and we get a lot of cadet involvement, and the cadets
Okay.
couldn't be involved if they're not at West Point.
Right, okay.
So they're really a core supporter.
Supportive,
yes,
okay.
to help
So
us
that
out with
makes
things.
sense to me, okay. Yeah, because I was wondering, like, why December and why that
Yes,
date?
and that
Okay.
first Saturday in December has always worked for us. And and this is important too. People think, well, you know, this wreath, how long does this stay down for? Our wreaths stay down for 2 months.
Wow.
So at the
okay.
very end of January, we pick our wreaths up, and again, we have the cadet support. They help us.
Oh,
Obviously,
yes.
7,025 wreaths is a lot of wreaths to pick up.
That is a lot.
So we get a lot of support from them
Oh, that's
on
wonderful.
both days.
Wow. And now, so you said now this is going all across America. So
Yes.
this is happening at Arlington Cemetery, and it's happening at, I would imagine, what other cemeteries?
Oh, they're the national,
Any
there's a
of the
group of national veteran
Okay.
cemeteries. And again, any cemetery that has veterans.
That has veterans. Wow.
Yes.
Okay, wow. And can you tell me anything else that, like if people wanted to contact you?
Okay, if people would like to sponsor a wreath, they certainly can. All they would do is they would go on the website, and it's wreathsacrossamerica.org. That's wreathsacrossamerica.org, all lowercase. When the screen comes up, you would simply, and it's on the main screen, you would simply check local fundraising group. You would click
Okay.
on that. The next page that it brings it to you,
Right.
it'll ask you for what fundraising group, what local fundraising group, and you just type in West Point Cemetery,
Okay.
and that's it. You simply follow the directions from there.
Now, let me ask you this. So let's say you're somebody that lives in Pennsylvania. So they'd go on the same site,
Absolutely, yeah.
right? Okay. And they would click on whatever is, let's say, near Philadelphia, or
They can go
do that.
on the actual Wreaths Across America site, and they could select a state, and
They
then
can. Okay.
see other fundraising groups, or really the locations of other cemeteries.
Okay, interesting.
But obviously, we're focused on
West Point.
West Point
Right,
Cemetery, yes.
Right. And now, if they want to email, you're going to be emailing Jackie
Right,
McNally.
if you stay on the original Wreaths Across America site, don't click on local fundraising group. There's a spot where you can contact.
Okay.
You can contact someone from the representative from the cemetery, which is me. It's West Point Cemetery, and you can email me, and then I will email you back.
And now you said that you're a location leader, correct? Is that
Yes,
is that
yes,
your title?
yes.
Okay.
When you sign up for a cemetery, someone has to be the contact.
Okay.
With the Wreaths National up in Columbia Falls, Maine, and the cemetery itself.
Okay. Oh, interesting. Okay. And is there anything else that you can tell us that's important to know about this organization doing this?
It's amazing the people that have not had closure for whatever reason with things. I mean, it's understandable. We've had people come to us and say, coming to our ceremony, now this is obviously they have a loved one there, or a loved one that's, somehow wound up in a military cemetery.
Right.
That it's just given them a little peace
Right.
that they didn't have before, because they see that really their loved one will never be forgotten.
Right.
Because,
That's-
a couple years ago, Wreaths had a little, one of their themes for the year was say their name.
Oh,
And the reasoning behind that, if you say someone's name, they'll never be forgotten.
right. That's really a lovely
So
idea.
we've had, we get as many as 750 people at our ceremony.
Well,
So we
that
have
was my
really,
next
we have
question.
really grown.
Okay.
When you come, again, it's December 7th at 12 noon. We have a little ceremony at the Cadet Chapel at the cemetery. Then we go back and we unload the trucks. and then people place the wreaths, and then we have taps at the end.
Okay.
And it's not usually a sad time that day. People are very focused and very happy to be there.
Right, to be
help out.
participating.
And we
right.
get all ages, all ethnic backgrounds, all
Wow.
languages. It's just nice.
that's
People have really come together.
And how long
on
does
this.
the ceremony last then? So it starts.
It starts at
noon?
about noon, and maybe it'll end about 3:30.
Okay. All right.
So you can come for any point, or you can come. We obviously we suggest come for everything, because then
Right.
you really
Right.
get a sense of what's happening. And it's rain or shine.
Oh, it is. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Or snow.
Or snow.
Within
right.
reason. I
Right.
mean, if it's the blizzard,
Right.
you know.
Right. Obviously. Now, when they get there, do they go up to a gate? How
Yeah,
do
just go to well, there's they would go to Thayer Gate,
Okay.
and they would be asked what they're going to do, and they would say, we're going to the cemetery, and if they need directions, the guard at the gate will tell
Okay.
them how to get
All
there.
right. Yeah, because I thought they may get to the gate and think they're not going to get in.
Yeah,
and we
no,
don't
they
want that.
simply have, yeah.
That's wonderful. All right. So, is there any other programs that have spawned out of this?
No, Wreaths is pretty straightforward. Their mission is to put
Is to
a wreath
put-
on every veteran's grave.
I think that's a wonderful idea. And at this time of the year, we had Memorial Day, 4th of July, and it's important, and it's actually important all year round not to forget the people that have given their lives and served their country. It's to me, I can't thank them enough, and this is a wonderful way.
Well, West Point
To
too
do
is,
that.
I mean, you're right in the thick of history.
Exactly.
From
yes,
our country.
You are. Yes, you are.
There
yes.
are graves. I mean, it started out, the first person that was buried there, it was really just kind of a local cemetery along with military. So that was like
Right.
the late 1700s. And I mean, there are grave markers that are just marked child.
Wow.
And there are grave markers that are so old, you can't see what's on the
You
front
can't
of
even
them.
see what's
No.
on there. Wow. My father-in-law served at West Point.
Oh, thank him for his
Yes,
service.
yeah. So, it's near and dear to our hearts.
Mm-hmm.
And again, my father served, World War II. So I think anybody, and my nephew actually is in the
Yeah.
service now too.
But we really have gotten tremendous support
That is,
from Orange County in particular.
that's
The
wonderful.
local people,
Right,
yes.
the local,
You know, and who hasn't heard of West Point?
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
And you get up there and it's different. It's like a whole nother world.
And it stands up for its name. It represents America
Yes.
and such a positive light. And I think that anyone that hasn't been there should go
Yes.
there, because it really is, especially it just confirms what America is about, what we want it to stay as, and how important
Yes.
all of this is. Well, I can't thank you enough for
Thank you for
joining
having
us.
me.
So please, if you want, contact Jackie
Through the website.
through the website, and it's Wreaths Across America
.org.
.org. Correct.
Thank
All
you.
right.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you.
Okay.
Well, my memory's shaking. There just ain't no faking it. Tell me where's the time go? The future is calling. The past just keeps falling. Soon there'll be no one, Where's the time go? Seems it used to pass so slow. Will we ever really know? Who can tell me where's the time go? Where's the time go? Seems like yesterday's last year, and our days are filled with fear. tell me where's the time go? Well, the future is calling, the past just keeps falling. Soon there'll be no one you know, but your memories linger, and you can't lift a finger. Put off the time when you go. Where's the time go? Seems it used to pass so slow. Will we ever really know? Who gonna tell me where's the time go? Seems like yesterday's last year, and our days are filled with fear. Who gonna tell me where the time go? Yesterday's new arrivals forced to think of survival, as if the ending don't come soon enough. Endless people still praying, and the mystics are saying that this life as we know it's gonna end. Where's the time go? Seems it used to pass so slow. Will we ever really know? Who's gonna tell me where's the time go? Seems like yesterday's last year, and our days are filled with fear. Who's gonna tell me where's the time go? Tell me where's the time go? That was one I got to play in front of Paul McCartney.
No kidding.
Yep, Penny Lane Studios.
Really?
Yep,
That's a beautiful song.
thank you. I'll get you a copy of it, because Tommy Sellers produced it for me. He's the one that did Rock the Boat and Heaven. Yeah, he was just a wonderful man. And he was working in Philadelphia with Hall & Oates, and his house caught on fire, and Tommy threw his son through a window and saved his son's life and died. He was a dear friend of mine. His father served in the Navy in World War II. So if it weren't for the sacrifices of my family and your family and what you're doing now, I wouldn't be here. If it wasn't for me going to Sam's Club on a particular day and I ran into Jackie and Dan, it ended up that Jackie's dad was Congressman Ben Gilman's campaign manager, and Ben and I were dear friends, and we were off to the races. But I'm forever in your debt and forever in your gratitude. I can't repay the debt. You put a wreath on my dad's grave. Here's one that I wrote, for the Outer Banks. You ever been to the Outer Banks? Yeah, you're 20 miles out to sea, it's just wrong. Down old 95, my Cadillac shaking, but she's very much alive. Baby, she's sleeping, so we take a ride, Chesapeake. Wake her up, take a peek, ride the wind, another state, and it just rolls on you, and it just rolls on you. By the time she awakes, we'll be sitting in the Outer Banks. Got a good cure, found a remedy. Get on the road and follow the shore. History, mystery, here's a little bit of comedy. Take your Put your feet in the ocean, let it roll on you. Let it just roll on you. By the time she awakes, we'll be sitting in the Outer Banks. Roll on. We gotta go just as far as you can till you run out of road. There's no mistaking, we're sitting in the Outer Banks, watching it roll on. So, good night, sleep tight. Tomorrow'll be just right. We'll make some memories and chase them on. You chase them on. You chase them on down the road. Watching it roll on. Watching it roll on. Down old 95, my Cadillac shaking, but she's very much alive. And my baby, she's sleeping. And we just roll on. And we just roll on. Well, the world can wait. We're sitting in the Outer Banks. Roll on. We gotta go just as far as you can till you run out of road. No mistaking, sitting in the Outer Banks, watching it roll on, watching it roll on. Oh, everybody sing. Hey, rocking and rolling, yeah. Rocking and rolling, yeah. Rocking and rolling, yeah. Rocking. We're gonna stay up. We're going way up. It's time to pay up. Oh yeah. And down old 95, my Cadillac shaking, but she very much alive. And my baby, she's sleeping, and we're listening to the Rolling Stone.
Today I have Paul Brower with me, and I have to tell you, it is always a pleasure, Paul, to have you on the show. Thank you again for joining me. Paul has been on the show before, and he's a singer-songwriter, but he's so much more than that. Paul gives almost all of your time. He dedicates it to helping others, to nonprofits, to I could go on, and we are actually going to get to this coming weekend, July 7th, and that is the Mammacating Birthday Bash. Give me a little information on that, Paul.
I'd be delighted. It was at the time the precinct of Mammacating, and it's the 276th birthday of Mammacating.
Oh, wow.
And we felt it appropriate that we celebrated it at the oldest church in Sullivan County that was built on the timbers of Fort Ruza from the Revolutionary War.
Wow.
And they mustered from this church for the Civil War.
Wow.
And marched to Goshen, and then they marched here to Port Jervis.
Oh,
where
really?
There was a service at the Presbyterian Church, and those that were fortunate enough got transportation to Gettysburg, and the rest of them marched to Gettysburg.
Wow.
So
Wow.
it's the
Yes,
276th birthday at Mammacating, and we have some wonderful talent that's going to be playing.
Yes, you do.
And we're going to have cake.
And you're going to... You're so excited about that cake.
Love me some cake.
What kind of cake?
I'm not sure. I kind of stay out of that. I'm doing this.
Okay.
I'm doing the sound and
you are.
helping the other musicians.
Okay.
And
all
we've
right.
also we've gotten some new great board members on board. And Adrian Jensen has acted as a liaison to the public school district and is getting the Pine Bush Select Choir, the Madrigals, to come and perform the national anthem at the opening.
Oh.
And I believe that Assemblywoman Aileen Gunther, who's a very dear friend of ours, and I went to school with her her husband Jake died tragically. If anybody knows anything about the Gunther family,
Yeah, I'm not
and
familiar.
and it's, you don't even think about politics. She's always just done the right thing.
Wow. Okay.
And in this climate, it's just wonderful to
Yes,
see
it is
that.
to see that. Right.
So
yes.
she's going to come and make some opening remarks, and we may or may not have the American Legion come and do colors as well with the Class A uniforms.
Right.
And then we're off to the races with the entertainment.
Well, I want to say one thing here, that it starts at 4 p.m.,
Yes.
correct? Okay. And ends at 8 p.m., right? 8-ish.
Usually, the police have been invited
Okay.
because we bleed.
You get very
we-
rowdy?
We bleed blue.
You did. Oh.
And you know, we've invited them, made sure that they're invited, but you know, if they have to come and it's late and we've created a noise ordinance, I guess we'll have to shut down. But it says
Yes,
8.
yeah, it
It
says
might
8,
go
right.
a little later. We'll see.
Right, right. Well, I have to tell you, because now it's at the same church
Yes.
that we were at
Yeah.
before. Okay. And so if anybody is interested, it's right on the main drag.
It is. You can't miss a steeple.
Right, right. In words, well, is that classified? That's
No, it's
Bloomingburg.
Bloomingburg. Yeah,
That's
it's
Bloomingburg, right.
yeah.
So 4 o'clock in Bloomingburg. I'm telling you, it will definitely be worth your trip. Let's just name some of the people here. You
Sure.
have your
it's-
glasses on?
I know. It's
Because I don't. Here
it's
you
going to
go.
be besides the Pine Bush Select Choir, the Magicals,
Right.
and I don't know the two gentlemen that are high school students that are going to play jazz guitar for us to open it up.
Oh, nice.
So after the national anthem and all the pomp and circumstance, then it's going to
Right.
be Loretta Hagen and her husband Gary Hagen, and then we're going Kurt Henry.
Now, I don't know Kurt Henry.
Yeah, he's played with some big names.
Has he?
Yeah.
I have to tell, well, actually, my audience will get to see, because I had Loretta and her husband on the show already.
Great.
Beautiful, beautiful singing. And also I see R.J. Storm.
R.J.
Another
Storm's
amazing-
coming
Yeah.
with Max Smith,
Okay.
with Richard Hawthorne and his blonde upright bass, and Floyd Moser playing keyboards. And Floyd is
Okay.
was United States Navy and served during Desert Storm.
Oh, wow.
And Floyd's just a good friend and a great keyboard player. And I love to include as many veterans as I can in everything I do.
Right.
And Linda Labias is playing percussion with Loretta.
Oh, no
And-
kidding.
Yeah,
Okay.
Loretta and Gary. And if I've missed anybody, I'm really sorry. But we're going to have a
That's
lot
gonna
of
be that's gonna be great.
and it'll be eclectic. It's going to be a big range of different kinds of
different
music.
kinds of music. Well, I think
I'll give that
Linda
back
was
to you.
supposed to come with Loretta, and unfortunately couldn't the day that I had Loretta. So it'll be a treat to meet her, because I do believe she was supposed to come. Is there anything else that you can tell me about Bloomingburg that you might want to share with the audience?
It was known as the Gateway to the Catskills. It's the 50th anniversary of Woodstock, and probably 2 weeks before Woodstock, I had a yellow 160 Honda that I rode up through Bloomingburg, and I ended up at the Bethel site, and I chained that motorcycle to a tree and followed the noise. And they thought I worked there. I helped with sound. I knew all about speakers and sound systems, and we were daisy chaining them up on the towers.
Oh, no kidding.
And
Oh,
I was
wow.
there for the whole time, and saw my cousin Eddie and a few other people that were looking at me like. And I had just turned I just turned 18 years old.
Wow.
But even back in those days, peace,
Right.
love, and Woodstock, you know, you still saw some things you really wish you hadn't seen.
Right, right.
And
Wow.
it just brought me there. So that's the gateway to the Catskills, and
Right.
that's the route that they took.
Yes,
And
it was.
and the history of Bloomingburg and mammocating is really significant because, you know, there's an old mine lead mines.
Yes.
Ambrose Woodward Green was an ancestor of mine.
Right.
It came out of Otisville and built a mercantile trail that went to Ellenville, and they traded Orange County gold, which was butter and dairy, for hard irons and stuff. And he discovered lead mines.
Wow.
And from those lead mines, there came all the lead for the Civil War, for the Spanish-American War, for World War One, and now they've closed them down. But you had the O&R Railroad going through there. There was a stagecoach road up top. The Algonquin used that trail for forever, and it's Bloomingburg has changed, but we're refusing to lose our foothold.
Right. Well, I think that's wonderful. I don't know if you know this, but I lived in Wurtsboro for many years. And the history there, again, is just amazing. And, you can go pretty much anywhere in the world and you sit there and you go, well, there's a lot of history here and there's a lot of history there. And it's true. But you know what? We're losing people that care about the history of let's say, that area. And it's so important to bring it back and to remember it, to remember the people that established it and, lost their lives, because many people did. There were many, many battles in the areas, and you forget that.
Countless sacrifices.
Right, yes.
We're having our historian, Verdania Lawrence, is going to give a presentation on the 276th.
Oh.
On
Right.
what has occurred in that precinct and settlers and people that have been forgotten.
Right.
And battles that have been forgotten.
Right.
And the relationship that we had with the Dutch and the Algonquin, the Lenape, the relationship and the contracts that were drawn in, and for better or worse, that's what it was, and we're moving forward and commemorating that and remembering all the heroic men and women and children that really just carved out. Right, they did. They carved out in a wilderness. They carved out this wonderful place we call the United States of America.
That's right. Right. It is true. We live in comfort. I mean, we have. They didn't have refrigerators. They didn't have lights. They didn't. They didn't even have. Toilets. I mean, and all the things that we take for granted. Is what they started, like you said, they carved it out, and yes, it just kind of worked its way into where we're at now, but we forget how hard and lives were lost to get to where we are. And yet, you think we would learn that war is not. So, how do I say this? It's just a shame that over the years we're still losing men and women because of land. Like, it's really all about borders and properties, and I don't know. You think that we would learn something from the past about that, but
even biblical reference. I mean, you go for as long as we have a recorded history, there's been violence.
Right.
And sometimes when you have dictators and despots and people that are murdering innocent people, somebody's got to step up.
Right. Right.
And usually it's us.
Yes. Yes.
But I'm with you. I'm with the peace thing.
Right. I would love to see, and I know it's probably a silly thing. I don't ever think that we will, not see war. But thank God we have people that are willing to step up and willing to put their life on the line. So it's an amazing thing. And that brings us to this right here. So this is going to be on July 20th.
It is.
And this is the Minnesink Battle Run. What's this, the second?
It's the second one.
run.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to turn and face this, and it's the 240th. And now I'm doing this without my glasses on, so I could be getting the anniversary. And they're right there of the Battle of Minnesink. But thank you. And so that is going to be held.
Yeah, we're right across from the 1841 courthouse in Goshen.
Okay.
There's a memorial that was built by Dr. Merritt. Initially, they had built a memorial to commemorate the terrible massacre well, they call it a massacre. The Orange Militia put up a heck of a fight, considering that we feel that they were infiltrated by Tories, that they were egged on. You know, in fact, there was a Major Meeker from New Jersey that said, let the brave follow me and the cowards stay behind. And General Hawthorne and Colonel Tustin were saying, wait a second, we're outstretching our support line here, where we need to wait and muster up more men and more munitions and more supplies. And at that juncture, it turned into, they made contact and the fight started. And the fight went on all day in the heat of the summer. And it was a horrifying fight. We lost a lot of the Orange Militia. Wow. And one of my blood relatives, Gabriel Wisner, died in the battle. And of course, the longer I pursue my genealogy,
right,
you know, I realized that many of those people that fought in that battle were related to me.
Right.
And I've always had a connection to it, but it's not about just the battle for me. It's a tremendous opportunity to bring to bear volition, people that are willing to. It's a beautiful ride. If you ride a motorcycle, we're going to muster there at 11, and at noon it's kickstands up, and we're going the old Goshen, Scotchtown Turnpike, and we're going right by the Bull House across 302, right up to 17K, which is the Newburgh-Coshecton Highway. We take a left, and we're going to pull up into the old Dutch Reformed Church for a little break.
Right.
And then we're going down to O'Toole's, who is also going to help us. So they're going to be providing beverage and a spot there.
Oh, wow.
And then from there, we're going to go right down to 209 and go up the Peampack Trail, where Joseph Brant and the Tories attacked the settlers.
Wow.
And the thing I have to say about Brant, these days you have a lot of revisionists.
Right.
A lot of people that say, oh, well, because I'm a Wisner. So that immediately they say, well, you were a slave owner. They didn't say, wait a second, he was Puritan or old school Baptist or Quaker. And they rejected that dogma and manumitted all the slaves and refused to do that. Even in a time where there were American African slave owners.
Right.
You got to blame all this evil on humanity, and it was a terrible injustice to human beings.
Yes.
And it created a lot of animus and a lot of violence.
Yes, it did.
And the point I'm trying to make here, saying that, is Joseph Brant and Aaron Hill and Cornplanter and Molly Brant and Sir Johnson were all friends of my ancestors during the French and Indian War. They fed together, they bred together, they died together, they buried their dead together. They were friends.
Right.
Then the British came along after the French and Indian War, and we had declared independence and filed the papers of public safety, which every town supervisor signed his death warrant when he did that.
Wow.
They signed. Henry Wisner signed his death warrant when they did that. And at that juncture, our friends went from captains to colonels in the British Army.
Wow.
And murdered their friends. The Tories, some of whom were blood related, joined the British, and they were cowboys. They were the most brutal, set people on fire, just come under truce flags and draw them into the enemy lines and hatchet them, and just horrifying stuff. So let's go back to the whole thing. You know, where did we end up? We have our freedom. and 27 beautiful amendments to our Constitution.
Right.
And I'm riding for the Sons of the American Revolution in Blue Knights, New York 20.
Okay.
And we're raising money for Wreaths. And it's like, just donate. You want to ride with us?
Right.
If you got $1, give us $1. You want to give us 20, give us a 20.
Right.
It's all going
all
to
going.
Wreaths Across America, West Point Cemetery. And you can even do it online. And the really wonderful thing about this initiative is I'm seeing this happen. People are adopting cemeteries,
Right.
saying, there are pioneer families in here.
Yes.
There's people in here that fought in the French and Indian War, the Revolutionary War, the Civil War, and those graves aren't being maintained.
Right.
And
Oh,
now,
my goodness.
And now
yes.
people are starting to come together and pay honor to them.
Right.
And it doesn't matter your ethnicity.
Right.
It doesn't matter what your rank was. It matters that we hold honor
to
to
the
these people that's
again.
made that great sacrifice so that we can sit here and have this dialogue.
That's exactly right. That's right. That's a wonderful. And so this starts. What time do they have to?
Well, we're gonna meet up at the memorial at 11, and we roll out of there at 12.
12. Okay.
And last year was our first year, and I think we had close to 20 motorcycles. And
Okay.
when we rolled into the battle site, they had to stop.
Wow.
Because they heard all these motorcycles coming. It was like the cavalry was
Right.
coming.
Right.
This year, we're having an escort. The sheriff is escorting us.
Oh, wow.
So it's a combination between the Sullivan County and Orange County Sheriff's Department.
That's wonderful.
Are going to escort us to and back. And anybody that wants to jump on along the way,
yeah.
if they see us at the Old Dutch Church, they can jump on there. If they see us at O'Toole's, they can jump on there.
Right.
We usually stop real quick at Peen Pack where the massacre was and just get off for a second and pray.
Right. And pray.
And then we get up and we go by the Hawk's Nest. How can you
Right,
beat that?
right.
Along the Delaware River to
Right.
the Roebling Bridge, and there are the battle sites there.
Right. Right. Now I have a question.
Yes.
What happens if it's raining?
Well, yeah, I guess we're in trouble.
Okay. So you don't have a rain date set.
We don't have a rain day.
Okay.
If it's raining that day, we're going to go in cages. We're going to drive our vehicles.
Okay. All right. So
Because
just
I'm still
yeah,
going
just so
up.
people know
I'm
that
still
they can-
going up there, and I'm still raising
Okay.
money for Wreaths Across America.
Right. Right.
And I've seen this initiative grow because after we did West Point,
Mm-hmm.
and that's moving. And
I
then I
would
went over
imagine.
to Heroes Way
Right.
for Orange County, and I have relatives and family and friends that are interned there, and the Nom Knights and the Orange County executive, they all adopted Wreaths Across America at Heroes Way,
Wow.
and every grave was covered. So I got that.
I have to say that is just amazing what they have accomplished. That really is. When Jackie was telling me that they went from 125 wreaths to 7,000, being able to cover every single grave, or stone.
And what wonderful people they are.
That's amazing.
They're just.
Right.
They're great people, and everybody that's involved in this initiative is nobody's doing it for any other reasons other than it's just the right thing
Other
to do.
give right.
It's just
It is. It's a again when we go back to thinking about how we forget and what what was sacrificed by so many of these people. We really need to be doing more, more than what we eat, And if I could come up with something, and I would love to maybe create something again in memory of people that have served for us, because, as you said, we wouldn't be sitting here right now.
You've got cemeteries right here that I think are going to get involved. Mahackapack, where that's Brant came through, and
Right.
Fort Deckard,
Right.
these old settlements and stuff, and they were
Yeah.
desecrated.
Yes.
Yes, and
you're
they
right.
go and I often have dialogue with people like, why aren't you doing? I said, wait a second, I don't live in Port Jervis. Why don't you do it, and I'll come help you.
Right. You're right.
And
Yes.
there's no reason why This is a great community.
Right.
They're gonna do it.
And they're gonna.
They're gonna do
That's
it.
great.
They're
That's
gonna
great.
do it. There's no doubt in my mind that they're going to do it. And I'm gonna jump topic on you.
Go ahead.
I got on my motorcycle and I rode from Middletown, New York to Gettysburg and rode through the Devil's Den and Culp's Hill, when every place where my
yes.
family fought, and stayed over. And the next day I came across the Francis Scott Key Bridge, and I went by the Mint, and I went by the Washington Memorial, and I'm following my maps because I was trying to get to the hotel, 22nd Street Northwest. So I take 22nd Street Northwest and I pull it in there, and I look up and I'm at a Sally Port with guys with M4s, and I said, yeah, this isn't good. And I pulled a tight turn and I just got off and took off my leather and my helmet, and I'm standing from me to you to the ambassador to the United Nations, and I go, hello, Heather Ann, and she just started laughing, and I pulled out my shield, and they were holding me back because they're letting cars in and out of this big building that was blocking my way.
Right.
And I said, sir, I got a question. He goes, what is it? I said, well, I'm trying to get to the Hilton. It says 22nd Street Northwest, but you put this big building in my way. And he goes, well, it's been here a while. It's called the United States State Department. And so I finally made it there. I was 2 days early, and that was Thunder Alley.
Right.
That's where Rolling Thunder had all their vendors and everything. Was right in front of the State Department.
Sent me, yeah.
And the Pentagon lost count at 1 million motorcycles.
Wow.
And a lot of people couldn't afford motel rooms, and they were laying next to their motorcycles from the Lincoln Memorial over to the Vietnam Memorial. All that grass
Wow.
was covered with motorcycles and people that were staying there, and everybody was, sir, ma'am, excuse me, may I?
Wow.
And when they mustered up, we sat down for 3 hours on a spillway just to try to get out of the Pentagon.
Wow. Wow.
So they said it was going to be the last year, and more than 1 million people showed up.
Wow. Wow. Well, you sent me some of those photos, and I was flabbergasted. And there again, I don't know how many people have taken the time to go to Gettysburg, but what an experience. What an experience. So you want to talk about really touching your heart and going through the battlefields. I rode it on horseback, which was absolutely an amazing, I can't even tell you what I felt, because you wanted to really getting to cross that land where all these sacrifices were made was so moving. And one of the interesting things that happened to me, there in the town, there's a very old, it's an inn and it's a restaurant. And you go downstairs basically to the basement, and that's where the
Spring House.
Yeah, and that's where you eat, and they have the bar, and while I was there, I had a spirit come to me, and it wound up being the original owner of that inn. So his name was James, and
Dobbins.
Yes, it was. Yeah, and I went up to the waitress, or actually the bartender, and I said, I have a question to ask you. I'm a medium, and I'm being told by a spirit, his name is James. And so I said, does this name mean anything to you? And she said, yes. She said, he was the original owner, James Dobbins. What was also very interesting is not only did I pick up him, but I picked up 2 girls. And I said, they're coming across as if they were sisters, but they're not. And then I found out that Dobbins had married a second time, and that from his first marriage he had, I forget how many girls, and then from the second, and his wife had several, so now they had like 8 children between them. And so what it was the 2 girls were stepsisters. So that's where it came in, that they were kind of coming across as sisters, but they weren't. And she was just, I think she turned white because she just couldn't believe that I was, and that's what happens, What was interesting is that while I was out riding the horses, I didn't have any real spirit step forward. And part of, I think, was that I was just so overwhelmed with everything that happened on the field that I couldn't connect. Or maybe if you don't have that much time because I didn't have my own horse with me. I actually rented a horse. And so, you usually get like an hour or 2 on the field, Maybe if I had stayed longer, I might have made a connection, but at least I made a connection once I went to the inn. That was very interesting. But there again, when you go down the streets of Gettysburg and you realize the immensity of that battle, unfortunately, there was, I think, only 1 civilian casualty. That was, what was her name? It was it Mary? Anyway, but...
So when there's a cannonball inside of the building.
Yeah, yes.
I think she caught around.
She did catch around, yes. It came right through, I think, the door of the house. But I think she was only the real casualty, Civilian casualty, right. So if anybody ever gets to participate in anything like this, it's very moving, and it's well worth taking the time out to join and remember. And that's what it's really about, is thanking them for what they did for us to be able to be here right here and today. So I want to thank you again, Paul, for joining me.
Delighted.
It's always a pleasure. You know that if there's anything that you're doing, contact me.
Well, I know you're going to be up at the 7th.
I am, because I want the cake. No.
No, we're going to take you inside the church and close the doors and have a dress rehearsal.
I can't. I want to hear the choir. That's going to be amazing.
That will be fun.
That will be really amazing.
It will be fun.
And just all the other talent that's there. Really, if you have nothing scheduled on the 7th, absolutely go. If you're looking for something else to do, if you have a motorcycle, get on it.
If you want to ride in a cage, you can come along with us. You can follow the police.
Oh.
We're riding to remember.
Right.
This horrific battle, and everybody that has served,
right,
and everybody that's serving, and everybody that will serve.
Right. You're right. That's right, because that's the way you have to look at it too. Very good point.
I know you have ancestors that served. You have ancestors that served.
I do. My father
I
served.
have ancestors that served.
Yes.
Everybody out there that's looking, listen, you better get some more people to subscribe to this channel and come and hook up with us, link up with us. And these are all professional musicians that are coming and giving their time.
Yes, they are. Yeah, no, but that's right. Everybody is, donating their time.
It ain't about the money with us anymore.
Right.
It's about the cake.
It's about the... And I want to know if it's chocolate. But, again, he's right. Donna's Happy Hour, we want to bring different subjects to you. We hope you enjoy them. Access 23 TV here in Port Jervis, and you can catch us on Sunday evening at 7 p.m. if you have a Spectrum, Wednesday at 2 p.m., and Tuesdays at 8 p.m. So anyway, thank you, and again, Paul, thank you so much. All right, peace.
Children, listen, there isn't much time. Gotta grab my rifle and go. I'm the son of a minute man. We got half a day to show. Your mother and brother keep you safe and sound. I promise I'll be back. Never take all glory down. We are the sons of the American Revolution. We are the sons of the American Revolution. Been down this road before, defending land and home. Been down this road before, and we take care of our own. I promise I'll be back. I'm honor bound. Watch each other's back, 'cause this is sacred ground. We are the sons of the American Revolution. We are the sons of the daughters of the sons of the American Revolution. That's what we do. Red, white, and blue. That's what we do. We are the sons of the American Revolution. We are the sons of the daughters of the sons of the American Revolution. That's what we do. Red, white, and blue. That's what we do. So, children, listen, there isn't much time. Jesse was a good boy. He come up in Missouri on a small farm with his mama and his brother. The railroad, so it seems, had a mind to cut the timber, run their railroad tracks across the pastures. Well, the Jameses fought and mama died. Frankie and Jesse swore on mama named it David Vengeance. So on with the story of Jesse and the Gold. One of the wildest stories that has ever been told. So it seems the James boys was taking what was owed them. Well, they never thought they'd get what was coming. They never thought they'd get what was coming. And Jesse James robbed Midland trains. All the railroad had was themselves to blame. His brother Frank, he made the brakeman shake. And the Midland gold never ever got there. Hell no. So it seems the railroad got madder than a hornet, and they offered up a mighty keen reward. Jesse died there with a bullet in his brain, shot from behind by a man named Ford. Well, he never got to cash in that reward. He never got to cash in his reward. And Jesse James robbed Midland train. All the railroad had was themselves to